Hi guys, this is Amit Rishi. Welcome to yet another session on current affair topics of environment and ecology. Today we'll discuss about fall armyworm and Kerala's ban on CFL and filament bulbs. As we move along, you will realize that not only we'll be covering these two particular topics, but in between these two topics, we'll get so much of information that we will not need any other source for covering these two topics. To pay attention as we move along, you will be getting plethora of information that are relevant and important with the most recent data available. Let's start with the fall armyworm. As you can see, different daily newspaper report that maize crop falling victim to fall armyworm in Bihar. That government is now compensating farmers hit by fall armyworm. First ever fall armyworm infestation has been reported in cotton in Maharashtra, and fall armyworm attack reported in 3 districts. These are very relevant news. In fact, this one was from October 2019. So we can see that all over the India this particular worm has infested very well. Now in 2020 on 9th of April, the Hindu reported the Directorate of Agriculture has reported an armyworm attack on the standing crops in the northeastern Dhemaji district of Assam. Now this is the actual image of that particular fall armyworm, and to understand particularly the armyworm caterpillar, this caterpillar is a larval stage of several species of moth. So what actually happens, will not delve down deeper, but just to make the concept clear, in the life cycle of a moth there comes a stage when after hatching of egg, a larva is produced, and this particular larva is very dangerous for us, and this larva is the fall armyworm, also known as FAW. It has a huge appetite and can feed on more than 80 species of plants according to entomologists. Now entomologists are those persons that study insects. Its scientific name is Spodoptera frugiperda and also commonly referred as fall armyworm or FAW. It is a dangerous transboundary insect with high potential to spread rapidly due to its natural distribution capacity. You will see how, and opportunity is presented by international trade. FAW represents a real threat to food security and livelihoods of millions of smallholder farmers by spreading across all of the sub-Saharan Africa and Asia. FAW is a major maize pest in North America, which arrived in Africa from North America in 2016. Since then, it has threatened the continent's maize crop, which is a staple food and feeds around 300 million people. Africa's experience shows that the pest can be quickly colonized in new continent, very adaptive one. First reported in Central and Western Africa in 2016, it has now spread to more than 44 African countries today and has proved hard to control. Now to know something about the life cycle of the FAW. In its 45 days long life cycle, the female moth, this is our Spodoptera frugiperda, this is the moth. The female moth of this pest lays around 1500 to 2000 eggs on the top of the leaves. In the roughly 30 days larval stage, the larva lives only for 30 days. The caterpillar goes through 6 stages of development, as we just saw an overview. This is the most dangerous part of the life cycle, as the caterpillar feeds on the leaves, holds, stalks and flowers of crop plant. Once this stage is completed, the growing moth pupates in the soil for 8 to 9 days in summer, and it takes around 20 to 30 days in cold weather. The nocturnal, that's night dwelling, egg-laying adults sleep about 10 days, during which they migrate long distances. And that's why they travel from states to states Now, why it is dangerous? It is dangerous because it's polyphagous. That is, it has the ability to feed on different kind of food. Polyphagous nature of caterpillar and the ability of the adult moth to fly more than 100 kilometers per night. So you can imagine, if we talk about Indian subcontinent in particular, it can in 2 days or maybe one day it can move from one state to another. Even its ability to feed on multiple crops, nearly 80 different crops as we have seen, ranging from maize to sugarcane, fog can attack multiple crops. Similarly, it can spread across large tracts of land as it can fly over large distance. This explains the quick spread of the pest across India. In India, we have tropical climate, and this could allow the pest to thrive and spread further. The experts feel that hot and humid climate during the monsoon season is particularly conducive for the propagation of this particular pest. Now, how the fog affect the output? Till date, India has reported fog infestation on maize, sorghum, that's jawar, and sugarcane crops. Maize has been the worst affected, as most maize growing states in southern India have been affected by this pest. So we can somehow relate the climatic condition in southern India and the conducive environment that fog needs. Fog infestation and drought has led to shortfall of nearly 5 lakh tons in output, prompting the central government to allow import of maize under concessional duty. Maize is the third most important cereal crop grown in the country, and the infestation, if not checked in time, can wreak disastrous. It could be proved out to be disastrous and can wreak havoc. Now, some scientifically important information. It can be controlled. See, we are using the word control. It can be controlled using insecticides like lambda cyhalothrin, this particular insecticide, lambda cyhalothrin, or it can be, we can use the natural predator, this particular beetle known as coccinellid beetle. This is a natural predator of this particular fungus, but the most effective one which has been found is Normia reilly. It is a biofungicide which is giving good results in long run. Control and elimination. Some facts: farmer needs significant support to manage fog sustainability in their cropping system through integrated pest management activities. But we should know that fog cannot be eliminated, it can only be controlled. Moving on, some more important information. 4 major organizations, USAID, International Crop Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics, that's ICRSAT, International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center, CIMMYT, and Consultative Group of International Agriculture Research, CGIAR, have joined hands to prepare a strategy to address this issue. This alone can make you think how dangerous the situation is. The Food and Agriculture Organization, that is FAO, has launched a global action for fog control as a response to the international threat posed by this particular armyworm. It has also declared fog as a food security threat in African continent. It propagates similar to an army that marches slowly forward and consumes any foliage on the way. Unlike oriental armyworm, a different species of the same family, fog isn't cyclical pest that comes intermittently. Instead, it's a continuous pest that nearly always present and can build permanent population. Within Indian context, very important, fog attack has been reported in various places like Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and West Bengal, while causing damage to the maize, jawar and to a limited extent sugarcane crops in these states. More information, more very important information in Indian context is that scientists from College of Agriculture, University of Agriculture and Horticulture Science confirmed the arrival of pest in maize field within campus ground in Shivamogga in the state of Karnataka, southern India. Both morphologically and molecular techniques confirm the identity as FAW. The PEST alert published on July 30 last year, that's 2019, by the Indian Council of Agriculture Research ICAR, National Bureau of Agriculture Insect Resource, which is called NBAIR, this one, further confirmed greater than 70% prevalence of FAW in maize field in Chikaballapur, Karnataka. Unofficial reports of incidents of FAW are rapidly emerging from several states in India, including Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Maharashtra. But we have done some homework and used our technology, and last year the Hindu reported that 1.2 lakh hectares of farmland has been protected from FAW attack. The department has taken a step for carrying out two rounds of spraying of plant protection chemical and biopesticides. Now, pheromones are natural compounds for identification of these FAW. These pheromones are emitted by female FAW moths to attract males for mating, and these pheromone traps basically use synthetic version of these compounds that are biologically produced within the body of this FAW to attract and catch male moths, which can then be used to count and detect any significant FAW presence. ICAR, that's Indian Council of Agricultural Research, has raised an alarm after the invasive agricultural pest FAW was recently found in Karnataka. The discovery of pest in Karnataka is the first report of the pest in Asia. This is very important information. As for the steps taken this year, the state government had informed the assembly that integrated pest management strategies have been formulated, taking guidance and assistance from scientists from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University and experts of the Krishi Vigyan Kendra of Union Government. So these are some clippings of the news. Rain facilitated the growth of fungus that attack and kills the larva of worm. Very important, very beneficial information for us while boosting growth of corn plants. The prolonged rainy season, which has triggered hardship of country's farming community at large, has also turned out into blessing in disguise for corn growers. The prolonged wet spell has helped farmers tackle the infestation of the dreaded FAW, which had widespread impact on the maize crop in the early part of Kharif season. So guys, this much of information is a must for you, and this much of information is enough for you related to that's fall armyworm. Now let's talk about Kerala's ban on CFL and filament bulbs from November this year 2020. Kerala will impose a complete ban on sale of CFL and incandescent filament bulbs starting from November as a part of sustainable energy policy. This is in line with the government project Filament Free Kerala. Very important project. It was expected to be started from 2018 as a part of Urja Kerala mission. There is a difference between LED and CFL, just a technical difference that you must know, that the major difference between CFL and LED is that CFL is the emission of light. In CFL, the emission of light is because of ionization of mercury vapors, and the mercury vapor when ionized produce ultraviolet rays. These rays when collide with phosphorus coating tube generate visible light. While in the LED, it is because of the PN junction diode. When forward current applies across the diode, the recombination of the charges carrier takes place. This charger carrier gives energy in the form of heat and light. Just a part of information that if you want, you can go through this particular piece of information. Now, what is the rationale? What is the reason behind this ban? Now, CFL uses mercury vapor. Mercury vapor, which is dangerous to mercury itself, is a very dangerous element, and the vapor it is very dangerous to the environment and for the living being as well. Also, it requires additional components like ballast tungsten tube coated with barium, etc., which increases its cost. the destruction of LED is easier than CFL because LED does not have any harmful metal which pollutes the environment after destruction. The brightness of LED is more as compared to CFL because LED emits light only in one direction. Why LED? The LED is better than CFL in every aspect. The LED saves up to 80% of the electricity bill, even though their cost is very less. It is recyclable and their brightness remains same even after using it for a very long time. Now, the filament-free Kerala project will be implemented by Kerala State Electricity Board, obviously, and the Energy Management Center. Consumer in the states can place order for LED bulbs in KSEB website in exchange for existing filament bulbs. 9-watt LED bulbs are being sold at reduced price by the government to encourage the usage. Last year, very important piece of information, that Pilikod in Kasaragod district become the first panchayat in the entire country to be completely filament free. Now there are 5 key projects. The crux of this presentation is right on your screen. The 5 key projects under this mission is, there is a project SORA to establish 1000 megawatt of solar power capacity in the state by 2021. This is India's biggest rooftop solar program ever implemented. Filament free Kerala, we have seen that. And then Duty 2021, and in Duty 2021 it aims modernization of transmission structures of power in the state. Additionally, to tackle obstacles in power distribution, the government has also launched the 4,000 crore Duty 2020, a power distribution and renovation scheme. Transgrid 2.0, it aims at power highway, creating high capacity transmission lines to reduce transmission losses. And eSave is a kind of awareness campaign, a massive publicity campaign to sensitize the users of electricity on its safety aspects. Now additional information that Unnat Jyoti by Affordable LED for All, also known as Ujala scheme, launched by Ministry of Power in 2015. It seeks to promote efficient lighting and enhance awareness on using efficient equipment. It is spearheaded, very important to know this information, that it is spearheaded by Energy Efficiency Services Limited, EESL. The mercury, the rationale behind this entire campaign. The mercury in the fluorescent bulb can be released as both dust and vapor if the light is broken. The toxic element is dangerous to people and animal and easily migrate through environment in the air, water and soil. Incandescent bulbs consume power massively compared to LED. So guys, this was the short, concise and content packed session for you. The PDF of this entire presentation can be downloaded from the www.toffeenotes.com. I hope this particular presentation has been helpful for you. This is Amit Rishi signing off. We'll meet again, guys. Thank you.